Hi, I'm Sue Enquist, the head softball coach at UCLA. I'd like to introduce pitching drills. As we know that pitching is very, very technical. One nice thing to be able to do is to have appropriate drills for each part of the pitching mechanics. By doing so, you're going to go ahead and increase muscle memory in each part of the pitching activity. Right now, let's go ahead and take a look at all the pitching drills involved with pitching mechanics.
Hi, my name is Dee Dee Wyman, and I'm the assistant softball coach at Cal State Fullerton, and I work with the pitchers. And I'm here to show you some drills to work on the mechanics of pitching. The first drill that I'm going to be showing you is the wrist snap drill. What I'd like to preface it with is talk about the grip and the wrist snap and the release. When we're gripping the ball for a fastball and we're working on our fastball drills, you want to make sure that you find the C in the ball and you put your fingertips firmly on the C, these three fingers, thumb on this seam, okay? And when you're going to release, you're working on that 12 to 6 rotation, 12 to 6 on a clock, and you want to get 4 seams rotating. So 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? While I'm showing you some of these drills, I will be using a weighted ball. The weighted ball that I like to use is the Cannonball, and if you're interested in purchasing this ball, we'll have information at the end of the tape. The first drill that I'm going to be showing you is a wrist snap drill. The purpose of this drill is to work on the strength of your wrist, work on feeling the ball snapping out of your fingertips, and work on your release and your follow through. A couple things that I want to preface it with is make sure that you're making your what I call a T that's going to be going, it's your pseudo mound, and you're going to draw a line right through to your catcher. Okay, and the T represents your power line, and what your power line is, it's a line that goes directly from the middle of your circle all the way through to your catcher, and it helps keep you straight and balanced so that at release you're in a good position, a good powerful position. So the first thing I want to do is get my toes on the line. I'm going to get into a balanced athletic position, bend my knees, okay? I'm going to hold the ball, grip the ball on the C in my fingertips. I'm going to start with my arm tight, my wrist bent back, and I'm going to snap and finish. Okay? Like I said previously, this is a weighted ball, and just by virtue of working with this weighted ball, I think you're going to do two things. You're going to work on your muscle memory of your release point and your snap and your finish, but you're also going to be working on strengthening the important factors in that release point and that finish, which are your wrist, your fingers, and your forearm. Okay? So here we go. Okay? When you're doing this drill, you want to make sure that you're throwing it in a direct line, that you're not throwing a loopy ball, which means you're not snapping and throwing it up. Okay? You want to make sure that at release you stay long all the way through, snap, and come through so it goes in a direct line to your catcher, and you're also looking for as much spin on the ball as you can get. Okay? So a lot of young ladies will feel like this ball is falling out of their fingertips, and they'll go to snap the ball and it'll go in the dirt, and that's a good thing. That shows you that you're actually starting to throw it with your fingertips. And a lot of young pitchers will try to put it in the palm and push it, which you won't see a lot of spin on the ball and you won't see a lot of speed on the ball. So if you're doing this drill and it's falling out of your fingertips, that means that you're actually starting to throw it from your fingertips, which is what we want. But it also means your fingertips are weak if it's falling out. So you need to work with this ball and work on strengthening those fingers like we talked about. Okay? Notice how, a couple things you want to notice. I'm not taking a step, I'm coming through an open hip, and then after release is when my shoulders will turn and face my catcher. You have to be aware that your shoulders don't turn too soon, which will bring your hip through too soon, okay? So shoulders are open, you snap, and then you bring your shoulders close to your catcher, okay? So, boom. Okay? What I like to do is develop a routine for my pitcher. And all these drills are part of my pitcher's routine. So after my pitcher has warmed up overhand, the first thing she's going to do is work 15 to 20 of these wrist snap drills. From that point on, we'll move on to the next drill. But if she does them incorrectly, then we'll spend a little bit more time working on them. You don't want to throw too many drills with this weighted ball So I would say, especially for a young child, make sure that you're not throwing more than 30 or 40 with the weighted ball. As you get a little older, you can throw a few more, but you want to be very careful. And you don't want to throw 100% full out with the weighted ball. It's basically a tool to help you develop and work on the mechanics of your pitch. One thing that I want to touch on is the distance between myself and my catcher. I'm about 10 to 15 feet away from her. You want to be close but not too close to be able to do this the drill appropriately. The next thing that I would like to do is progress on with the same drill, but make it a little bit more complicated so we can work on the legs and still work on the release, snap, and the follow through. What I'd like to make point of right now is to make sure that when you're doing your follow through that you stay nice and long, point the elbow towards your catcher, and that you're getting a full snap all the way through. You don't want to shorten, or you don't want to turn over or rotate through. Okay, stay right on this path, snap, release, finish. Watch for that every time. This drill is a very simple drill, but it can also show a lot of problems in your pitcher's mechanics. So the next drill we're going to do is, the first drill I said was 10 to 15 feet. We're going to take a couple steps back, okay? Same thing, we're going to draw our line, okay, have our power line through our catcher. I'm going to get on my line, and now I'm going to use my arms a little bit and include my legs, okay? The first part of this drill, I'm just going to start with my hands forward. Okay, and this is great for young pitchers because a lot of times they're very rigid and very stiff, and they don't understand the idea of staying nice and long. And that's another reason why this ball is so terrific. It helps the pitcher to stay long. It helps them feel the weight in their fingertips, and it doesn't allow them to try to force the ball, push the ball. It forces them to snap the ball. So the first thing we're going to do is start with our arms forward. We're going to swing back, get into this position, and then snap and drag and follow through. So we're going to include the drag, a little bit more of an arm swing, and let's see what the kids are going to do. Here, back, okay? Now there's two ways you can do the finish. If you have a pitcher who really has a problem with her hips, meaning she is pivoting the hips close too soon, then you can work this drill and they can just stay open, okay? Just nice and open the whole time. Okay? If they're doing that and that's helping them and they've mastered that, then you can work on the close. Okay? So let's do a few open. Okay? Make sure you're dragging into the fore, into the back of the leg, and bringing all this weight into this front leg. Okay? What's another very important part of this drill is that your pitcher starts to trust her release point, okay? So she's got to make sure she keeps that arm in tight, and she just trusts that she's going to snap the ball at the right place. And like we have said before on previous tapes, and Sue has referred to, this is where muscle memory comes into play. If she has bad muscle memory on her release point, then this will help her to gain the proper muscle memory for her release point. And when she throws full out, it'll be where it needs to be. The ball's going to go where it needs to go. Okay. Okay, now that she's worked on this and she's getting the hips open, let's work on our close and the timing of our close. Okay, so we're going to be here, the arms are going to come back. Okay, we're going to take a little step, and now we're going to drag, and then after release, the shoulders come through and the hip comes through. Okay, so this is what that's going to look like. Okay, so a lot of your young ladies that are having problems with their drag, release, and close, this is an excellent drill to break them down into to work on that. There's a couple other things I want to talk about while we're doing these drills. For one, I like to go through all of these shorter drills that we're working on with the wrist snap and the leg drive with the weighted ball, and I'll show you exactly when we want to incorporate the regular ball into the picture. Like I said, we want to do about 15 or 20 of these drills each, unless they're really struggling with it. And then I would do more, but I would incorporate the regular ball into the drill so they're not using this too much, especially if they're young. Another point is to watch for is that kids don't let their shoulders get forward and they're not throwing with too much arm. And this is what we would refer to as bowling. You want to make sure that they're always keeping their weight back and head even through the middle of the body, and that they're not trying to throw forward like this, even in these drills. One other thing that we want to remember while we're doing these drills is to watch the stride foot. Make sure that you're landing at a 45-degree angle. If you're having problems with that, there's a couple things you can do. Make sure you draw your power line. You're stepping on your power line. You can also draw a line at an angle to make sure you want to step right where that is. Give yourself as many visual tools as you can give to get it correct. So I've drawn my line exactly where I want my foot to go. And if you're having problems stepping over the line to the right or the other way to the left, grab yourself a cone. Cones are great tools, and we'll use them quite a bit, and you can always put a cone down behind the foot or in front of the foot to help to remind yourself to step where you need to step, or you can put it on both sides.